The protests that have occurred this spring and summer have meant to me that anti-Blackness, anti-Black violence, Black oppression still runs rampant in our institutions.
I have been anxious, I have been proud, I have been concerned.
You know, I feel like I'm often in a cycle of tears and frustration.
There are a lot of injustices that I think many people have witnessed for the first time that African Americans and other people of color have experienced for generations in this country. And now we have the opportunity to actually really talk openly and honestly about that and to have the type of revelatory moment that could lead to positive change.
Really want to be better human beings, we have to become more effective at finding and owning and being honest about the ways which we've benefited from white supremacy, in which ways in which we've benefited from misogyny and the patriarchy, and like dig those things out of us when we find them.
I think that in order for us to really have actual change, I think that we need to get to the root of systemic racism and oppression.
It's going to have to involve understanding that racism is not just interpersonal prejudice, that racism is a series of practices that systematically disadvantage people of certain backgrounds over others.
There has to be change in criminal justice. There has to be change in public health, change in institutions of higher education.
The real way toward change is education, and education from the beginning. And I think if we were to get that education as we were growing up, then we would change the way we treat one another and understand each other.
It's a learning process, it's a lifelong process, and I think the first thing people can do is be an active listener and not listen to respond.
So if you hear an uncomfortable truth, now is not the opportunity to be defensive or to try to tell people that their history isn't what their history is, because that in and of itself is an exercise of privilege, and that's only perpetuating the problem.
In some ways, I would say that we should do that is by making sure that we're being exposed to the experiences of people who are other to us, engaging with those experiences with the same respect and vulnerability that we engage with experiences that are like our own.
Be open to stepping forward, questioning, making changes, but then also being prepared to deal with the consequences that a change can also impact you, and maybe in a way that you may be uncomfortable with. But your discomfort is probably very minuscule compared to the pain and challenges that others have had all their lives.